Welcome to AI Verdict. Today we are tackling an absolutely massive frustration in the world of AI development. We're going to figure out which AI tools are just built to make pretty static pages and which ones can actually build genuine functioning systems right from scratch. Let's dive in. So, have you ever fallen for the landing page trap? You've probably watched those amazing demos, right? The ones where typing a simple prompt supposedly gives you a full app. But then you try it yourself, and what happens? You get a beautiful landing page that does, well, absolutely nothing. There are no actual logins to separate users, no admin panels, and literally no place for your data to live. It's kind of just a really expensive digital painting. It is an incredibly common frustration for all of us. I'll be honest, I made this exact mistake for months. I kept confusing something that looks like a product with something that actually is a product. So the crucial point we need to remember is that most of these AI generation tools aren't broken. They're just built to make static pages, not interconnected systems. We want a real system, something with a working backend in the database, not just a pretty page with fake buttons. To figure out which tools can actually pull this off, we set up what I call the FAIR test. To make this a completely honest evaluation, I came up with a single business idea and handed the exact same word-for-word prompt to different AI app builders. The goal is simple. We want to see who gives us a genuine multi-role system and who just hands over a nice-looking front door. Okay, here is the exact prompt we used for the test. Read this carefully because every single word matters here. Quote, build a booking marketplace where clients can browse service providers and book appointments, providers can manage their availability and incoming bookings, and an admin can oversee all users and approve listings. Each role needs its own dashboard. End quote. Notice how that brief specifically demands 3 completely different user roles. We need clients, we need providers, and we need admins. But more importantly, it fundamentally requires live data to flow between all of them. This ensures we are testing for a real, functioning, little business rather than just getting a static screenshot back. Section 1. Testing Autocoder, building a system. So we started with Autocoder.cc because they boldly claim to generate the front end, back end, and database all at once. And look at what it actually produced. It didn't just generate a homepage. It created actual data entries for provider listings that the system can read and write. These aren't just fake placeholder rectangles drawn on a screen. This is a true multi-role system functioning exactly as requested. It's a real place where real data lives. Now, the real test was the user roles. And man, this is where it gets fascinating. Logging in as a client provided a complete browse and book experience. But when you log in as a provider, the system showed a completely different dashboard just for availability and incoming requests. And finally, the admin role gave the keys to absolutely everything. If you've ever tried building this without code, you know this normally takes days of frustrating work. Autocoder just did it in one go. Crazy, right? This right here is the exact moment a project shifts from a static page into a working database doing its job. Autocoder generated a real functional management interface. As an admin, you can see the users that exist, manage submitted bookings, and actually approve listings. When a client books, it doesn't just vanish into the void, it shows up right here. Let's see how this builds into something you can actually monetize, because a marketplace without payments is really just a calendar. Autocoder connects to a payment system through a layer called Clink. This allows integration with processors you already know like Stripe, Adyen, or Checkout.com. And get this, it handles both human payments and authorized AI agent payments. This turns the whole project from a simple scheduling tool into a real paid marketplace with everything managed in the very same backend. And here is a massive detail if you actually want to launch this thing. If you're on their Pro plan, Autocoder allows you to export the actual front-end and back-end code and deploy it to a custom domain. That means you aren't stuck in some walled garden. You actually own what you build and you can take it wherever you want. A real game changer. Moving on to Section 2, Testing Lovable, Building a Front Door. Next up, we took our test over to a different tool. We dropped the exact same prompt into Lovable to see how it would interpret our complex multi-role business requirements. Now, I want to be incredibly clear here. Lovable is genuinely excellent at what it's designed for. On pure visual polish, it is absolutely stunning. But we have to ask the critical question, is anyone home behind that beautiful door? Unfortunately, it missed the entire point of our prompt, those 3 distinct user roles. Think of it like a house. Lovable completely nailed the beautiful front door, but it lacked the rooms inside the building. It was missing the separate provider dashboards, the real role-based permissions, and a working backend where those bookings could actually be managed. For some added context, I also ran the prompt through a few other popular tools just to see the landscape. Tools like V0 and Bolt lean really hard into front-end design, which is fantastic if a beautiful front-end is all you need. Meanwhile, Replit offers more raw developer control if you want to get your hands dirty in the code. They're great tools for sure, but they are aiming at a very different target than our multi-role prompt demanded. All right, Section 3, the final verdict. Looks like versus is. After putting these platforms through the ringer, it's time to lay all the facts right on the table. On visual design and speed, all of these tools are super strong for building landing pages. But remember, our test was for a multi-role business system, and this brilliantly illustrates the difference. Autocoder treated the separate dashboards, role-based permissions, and actual backend database as the main job, whereas the others mostly just gave us a brilliant front end. Ultimately, the gap between looks like and is exactly the gap between a simple page and a functioning system. And that gap is exactly where real businesses either get built or get completely stuck at the prototype phase. Autocoder actually gives you the machinery behind the interface. Section 4. Who is this actually for? Stepping back from the test for a second, how can this technology be practically applied to your own ambitions? Well, if you're a founder needing a real prototype for investors instead of just a static mock-up, this is for you. If you're an agency wanting to present a working multi-role system rather than just a flat Figma file, this is for you. And if you're a non-technical builder who's been priced out of hiring a full dev team, this technology can genuinely change what is possible for you right now. Listen, this isn't for building a simple blog. The absolute sweet spot for this multi-role AI generation is complex projects. Think two-sided marketplaces, recruitment tools, creator collaboration platforms, and consultation systems. Essentially, anything with more than one type of user is where this technology absolutely shines the brightest. Now, full disclosure, Autocoder did sponsor this explainer. But as you saw, the test we just ran used a real prompt with real, honest results. The side-by-side comparison really speaks for itself. And I always want to be perfectly transparent with you guys about where each tool wins and loses. So I have to ask, what would you build if you could spin up a whole system from just one single sentence? Drop a comment below and tell me your ideas. The best ones might just become the demo in my next build explainer. If this breakdown saved you from falling into the landing page trap, hit that like button and I'll see you in the next explainer here on AI Verdict.